Welcome to the July 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. This meeting is being held virtually via Zoom video conference and is also being broadcast by FCTV on cable channel 9. As this meeting is being recorded by Zoom and broadcast by FCTV, please be cognizant of what you say, how you say it, and what can be seen and heard in your background. We are missing one commissioner this evening. However, we have a quorum, so we're moving forward. I'd like to remind the commissioners that for commenting, I will call on each of you in turn, so please refrain from speaking over each other. Also, all votes are done by roll call. So when I call your name, please state your name and your vote for the record, even if you made the motion or seconded. To our public attendees, at any time during this meeting, you may enter any comment or question via the chat function. At the appropriate time, they will be read into the record. If the attendee would like to participate in a particular hearing, let us know via the chat function. Then at the appropriate time, you will be promoted into the hearing as a participant. When you are selected, you must have your video enabled. Be succinct, respectful of others. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Regarding RDAs, under a request for determination of applicability, the applicant is asking the commission to determine if the provisions of the Mass Wetlands Protection Act and/or the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw apply to their particular project. A negative determination is that the provisions of the Act and/or bylaw do not apply. Therefore, the project may proceed as proposed. A positive determination means the provisions of the Act and/or the bylaw do in fact apply and/or may require some conditions. Therefore, the project would require a notice of intent application. So, as an applicant, you want to hear a negative determination. And for the benefit of anyone waiting for a particular hearing tonight, so that you're not waiting unnecessarily, the following hearings are expected to be continued. And that would be 42 Chase Road in Falmouth, 357 West Falmouth Highway, and 84 Old Dock Road in Falmouth. So if you were here for those hearings, they're proposed to be continued. So I don't want you hanging around unnecessarily. All right. So the first item on the agenda tonight, my page here. All right. Request for a continuance under a notice of intent. David Flaherty, Flaherty Environmental Services, 84 Old Dock Road, Falmouth, Mass, for after-the-fact permission for installation of hardscape and for permission to install associated mitigation. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continuance until August 27th.
At the request of the applicant, I move this as requested.
Driscoll second.
Thank you, Ron. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Courtney. Courtney, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I wasn't present for that one, so I can't vote.
Okay. Steve Patton.
Aye, Patton, aye.
Ron Driscoll.
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie Bowman.
I don't believe I was on that either.
It's just a continuance, Ronnie. You can vote for it.
All right, Courtney threw me a curveball. Bowman, aye.
Okay.
Sorry.
Dave Kent.
Kent, aye.
And I'm an aye. So by a 5-1, well, with one extension, that is continued. All right. Second is Susan Garland, 42 Chase Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove approximately 7,100 square feet of common reed, Phragmites australis. Jen,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant's requesting a continuance until August 27th.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to continue. You said the 27th, Jen?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to continue to August 27th. Any other comments or questions by the commission? Seeing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron Driscoll,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
and Russ is an aye. Okay, with unanimous vote, it's continued to August 27th. All right, request for a continuance to amend an existing order of conditions. Benjamin Carroll, 357 West Falmouth Highway, Falmouth, Mass. Requests to amend the order of conditions for Mass DEP number 25-4777 to reduce the footprint of the proposed work and reduce the amount of required mitigation plantings. Jen,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting requesting a continuance until August 6th.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. All right, so unanimous continued. All right, requests for determination of applicability. First up is Daniel and Laura Newgesser, 178 Edgewater Drive, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to conduct repairs and replace deck boards on an existing deck. Is this Alyssa?
Yes.
The applicant has withdrawn their proposal.
He's withdrawn. Okay.
Okay, so we're just not gonna, we
Correct.
need a vote on that because it's a withdrawal, so. All right, so that one is withdrawn. All right, next up is Robert Kelleher, 65 Charles River Road, East Falmouth, Mass. For permission to replace the deck boards on the ramp and stairs of an existing dock. Alyssa,
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Robbins, aye. So unanimous. We'll take the staff's recommendation. Okay. Roger Haywood, 68 Chase Road, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to install a new Title V sewage disposal system. Alyssa,
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
any other comments or questions by the commission? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor. Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. Courtney, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Yeah, Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
and Robbins is aye. Thank you. That's unanimous. Staff's recommendation. All right. Next up is a continued request for determination of applicability. Lot number 86 Ormond Drive Realty Trust, 18 Ormond Drive, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to install a new Title V sewage disposal system. Alyssa?
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept staff's recommendation. I'm going to call any comments or questions by anyone? Hearing none, I'm going to call the roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Bill, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Robbins, aye. Unanimous to accept recommendations. All right, next up is continued request for a hearing under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Mass Wetlands Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And first up is Joanne Burke, trustee, 5 North Chop Nominee Trust, 5 North Chop Lane, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to install a pool, patio, and mitigation plantings. So, Ron, you're not on this quorum. Everybody else is. And who do we got? Oh, there's Mike Borselli.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've promoted Mike Borselli from Falmouth Engineering and Angela Tanner from Crawford Land Management to present their continued project.
Thank you, Jim.
No problem.
Mike,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, Mike Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant along with Angela Tanner from Crawford Land Management. This is a continued hearing that we presented the plan originally. The staff made comments and the commissioners had input and comments, and we continued the hearing, made some revisions, and are back here tonight to show you the revised plan. We think we satisfied staff concerns. The staff issued a revised staff report, and I'm going to briefly share my plan to just touch on the highlights and turn it over to Angela. The plan was revised, dated July 15th, and we modified the proposed spa and patio that was surrounding the spa such that its footprint got reduced, which reduced the required mitigation planting. We heard loud and clear that you did not want any mitigation planting within 10 feet of the spa, so the mitigation was recalculated and placed in a location that is more than 10 feet away. There was an unpermitted patio that was removed. No credit was taken for it because it never had permission to be there. So we removed the portion that was within the outer buffer zone B. So this all resulted in changes that I think are satisfactory, with the exception of one area of bayberry that was required under a previous application. It's a relatively small area that we're going to find a home for, and I'm hoping you'll allow us to close and work out the details of where to place that with your staff, and that you can issue an order that speaks to that. I think that we can come to a easy consensus on where that should be. I did talk to your staff today and they seem to agree. With that, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to Angela, and then we'll both here for questions.
Angela Tanner from Crawford Land Management, and I'm going to share our updated mitigation plan. So the areas have been greatly reduced, as Mike said, and we also heard your comments that you wanted those mitigation areas to be closer to the water rather than the other side of the spa. So we have distributed them clustered with the existing mitigation on this side. These are the new plants here. And then we have clustered the other half down here with the other half of mitigation that's along this property line. We had talked with staff about the idea of being able to place some of those shrubs in areas that are currently occupied by beach grass. That's this red kind of splotched area here and this pocket here. And that's because we're trying really hard to keep the shrubs so that the views from the spa are still intact. And instead of having those beach grass planted in those two corner pockets, we're distributing it all along the wall here. And this actually, there's more beach grass because we had an area of beach grass on a previously permitted plan that was never planted. So the shrubs are going in these two pockets, the beach grass here. And then, as Mike said, we need to find a home for a few more bayberry shrubs, which we would like to work with the staff to find a place for that if that's possible. I'll stop sharing my screen and then answer any questions you have.
Okay, Angela, thank you very much. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I think staff can work with Angela and Mike and find a home for the bayberries. We're good with that.
Cool. Thank you, Jen. Alyssa?
No comments, thank you.
All right, Court, we'll start you off tonight.
I have no comments.
Steve?
No comments. Thanks for working with the staff to correct the issues.
Ron?
Oh, I thought I wasn't excluded. I was excluded. So it was Mr. Bowman that was excluded. Okay. Yeah, I thought I was up to speed on this. Given all that, I have no questions. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I made a mistake here. I think, Jen, did you tell me that Ron Driscoll was not on this?
Ron, you're not on this quorum. Ronnie is.
No, I'm read up on it. I've been to the site.
Oh, okay. So if you've
All
read
right.
up
No,
on
no,
it,
good.
did we, one question, Mr. Chairman, did we have you read up on it before, Ron?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I just been to the site and read the instruction. I was on the last hearing.
On the June 25th one.
I wasn't on that, but I know about the.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'm up to speed.
Okay.
Ronnie?
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been on site and I was there at the hearing, and I think if the staff's happy, I think we can put this to bed.
Dave?
No comments. I agree with Ronnie rather.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Really appreciate you guys working with us on that. All right, so what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Driscoll's
Second.
do it.
Okay, we got a motion by Courtney and a second by Ron.
Do we have any
Any other
comments from the
comments or questions?
audience?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good point.
Mr. Chair, are there any comments from the audience?
Jen, anything from the chat?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Alyssa, did you have your hand up?
No.
Oh, I
Thank you.
guess not. You didn't have your hand up, did you, Alyssa? Okay. All right. No other comments or questions from the commission? Oh, hearing none, I'm going to call a roll. Courtney?
Bird eye.
Steve?
Pat and I.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
Dave?
And I.
And Robbins, aye. So by a unanimous vote, we've closed this hearing. Thanks,
Thank you
Mike.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yep.
You're muted, Russ.
Thank you. The next one up would be Joshua Cardoza, 40 Mary Emanuel Way, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to construct a single-family home, single-family dwelling with an attached garage and a Title V sewage disposal system. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have promoted Mark Dibb from Cape and Islands Engineering to present his project. Courtney, I believe have your hand raised because Russell did not read the other two. Those were continued earlier in the
Yeah.
hearing.
They were both continued.
Yeah,
Flaherty is
correct.
continued.
Yes, they were both continued to August 27th. Courtney.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No
It's
problem.
okay. I know what you were there for
I'll
asking.
have your question if they're not.
Good evening, Mark. How are you?
Good evening, everybody. Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering, representing the applicant at Mary Emanuel, 40 Mary Emanuel Way. We filed a notice of intent for a single family residence on this vacant lot. This is the last lot on the left of this subdivision. With your permission, I will share my screen. Okay. So again, this is an existing vacant lot. The wetlands on the property, we have salt marsh, which borders the water body to the further to the west off the page of this plan. We've flagged a salt marsh. We flagged a wetland, upland of that. We also delineated the coastal bank in this area that comes along the sloped area up to the flood zone where it's stops at the flood zone line, as well cuts around this part of the property where the slopes become less than 1 in 10%. We've shown the buffer zones to both the salt marsh and the wetland, as well as the associated A zone, which comes through here on the site, and the B zone, which runs through the house. So what we're proposing is a single family dwelling. We're proposing all work to be outside of the Falmouth A zone. We're proposing a driveway coming off the cul-de-sac to to the single family residence, a Title V septic system, which with leach field under the driveway, which will have components that will be designed to handle the H20 loading for that driveway. Dry wells for the roof runoff, and keeping all work outside of the A, so it'll be either B zone work or non buffer zone work for the house. We did receive staff comments. One of the staff comments is, and I did this earlier today, I didn't mean to have this on the plan. The limit of work kind of overlapped into the 100-foot buffer zones, or at least the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetland flag. We could definitely revise the limit of work to be approximately 5 feet off those buffer zones, this blue line here that you can see, to address that staff comment, as well as we provided per your regulation, we provided nitrogen calculations because this leach field is within 100 feet of a coastal bank. However, is not within 100 feet of the other wetland resource areas. And the results of those were calculations around between 12 and 13 parts per million for the property. So again, we filed a notice of intent seeking approval for this single family dwelling. With that, I'll stop sharing and be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Jen,
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Um, thank you for moving or tweaking the limit of work, Mark. Appreciate that. I think the only outstanding issue with this is the septic system. Your regulations do say that new septic systems do need to be 100 feet away from any resource area. That includes a coastal bank. I would say probably 85 to 90% of that leach field is outside that 100-foot buffer, but it does still fall within, unfortunately, within jurisdiction. So Mark did provide the nitrogen calculation, so the board needs to determine whether some nitrogen is better than no nitrogen on an already impaired water body. And I think that's about it, Mr. Chairman.
thank
We
you.
did have, I know there was some question on the coastal bank, just for the board to know, we did have the engineering department review the coastal bank. Because we did have some, some outside concerns on the delineation, and the engineering department agreed with Cape and Islands delineation of the coastal bank. So we're good with that.
Okay, thanks, Jen.
Not a problem.
No comments. Thank you.
Courtney,
No comments.
Steve,
Well, I got to congratulate you, Mark. This has been before us since April, and it looks like you've put together a plan. Although, Jen, your comments were that it's still illegal.
Well, I'm just saying that there, if you look at the septic system, and Mark, maybe you could bring your plan up and kind of illustrate for the board. You have like a three, it looks like a 3-chamber SAS.
Yep.
So Steve, your regulations say that the components, the SAS needs to be 100 feet away from the bound, your resource areas, which includes that coastal bank. Mark, if you could blow up the SAS and just show them that, according to your regulations, Steve, it doesn't quite make it, but if Mark, you could show them where that buffer zone line is on there. Yeah, it goes, it's kind of hard to see.
It's basically
right
through
there.
here. It's kind of an
Yeah,
arc.
thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
So I'd say, 90%, if not more, of the system is outside. So that is why Mark needed to provide those nitrogen calculations for you. So again, the board needs to determine, if the system can't fully be sited outside of jurisdiction, as your regulations require, then the board has to weigh whether additional nitrogen into an already impaired water body is better than no nitrogen from this site. That make it a little clearer, Steve?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty much what you said before, but
Yeah.
I understand. And thank
Okay.
you. I wanted that clarified. I feel comfortable with their efforts. It's obviously been extremely difficult to try to get it out of there, and they did. Well, anyway, let's hear what everybody else has to say. Thank you.
if you could stop sharing, Mark.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, Ron.
All right, so the nitrogen loading that you calculated is a 12. There's a couple other numbers, I think, in there, the staff report. That was sort of like in the middle. It ideally would be less than 12, but they'll allow something like 30 or something like that.
Yes,
Mark,
that's
can you explain that?
Yeah, the 35 is basically what comes out of the Title V system. Then when you apply the land area and all the different components, the amount of natural vegetation, then some more negative things, the amount of lawn and things like that actually brings it back up. When you consider all those factors, for a site this big, it comes down to that 12 parts per million. And then, yes, 5 parts per million is a target in some towns or some other places, like Mashpee has a 19. Bourne tries to get to a 5. If you can't get to a 5, they make you get as close as you can to a 5. So, 12's in the middle of those two numbers. Again, it's up to this board, what they feel is appropriate if, for this property.
Thank you, Mark.
And
That's
if
all.
I may, Mr. Chairman, this calculation comes straight from the Cape Cod Commission, right, Mark? The way
Yes.
those numbers are calculated on. So it's a Cape Cod Commission thing.
Thanks, Jim. Ronnie,
No comment.
Dave,
Jen, I didn't understand one thing that you said. At the very end of your comments, you said the board has to decide whether it's better to have no nitrogen or more. I can't see how more would be better. I'm a little confused by that last thing you said.
Well, because this system technically doesn't meet your regulations. And again, it's close. It's, Mark just showed you, it's really close. The regulations say it has to be 100 feet away from your boundary. In an attempt to prove to the board that, it's not as much as 35, we had Mark provide the nitrogen calculations as required in your regulations. So now the board just has to weigh, do you feel, another septic system is going to negatively impact this water body, which is already impaired, or are you comfortable with the addition of one more septic system on this subdivision?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's what it comes down to.
That makes sense. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And I mean, like I said, I had Mark illustrate that because they did the best they could to get this 100 feet out of your jurisdiction.
Okay. Okay. Beyond that, no more comments or questions.
thank you, Dave. I've got nothing. What's your pleasure? Jen, I'm sorry, is anyone in the chat room?
There's nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
So any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, what's your pleasure? What would you like to do? Courtney, go ahead.
Yeah, so is this an area that's going to require within the next few years a denitrification system in these things? In these areas?
It's an area that right now does not require a denitrification system. I don't believe it's also in one of the areas that possibly could get triggered in the future. So no.
So my follow-up question to you is, does this system as designed allow for the insertion of some kind of denitrification measure system?
Yes, on the plan, you'll see it's got two things. It does have a placeholder for an additional tank, and it also has the additional 6-inch drop between the tank and the D box to allow for that system to be implemented if necessary.
So I have no other questions.
Next quote. All right. Oh, Ron Driscoll.
Or if the denitros system goes in, what would that do to the nitrogen loading calculation? Would it knock it below 5? Would it keep it at 12? What would happen?
There's I'll just keep it simple. There's
Please.
Sometimes you see on the plans it's called microfast system. There's tons of them on the Cape. That's kind of the mid-level. That's the Ford, not the Maserati, but it reduces I ran some numbers. It reduces it down to about 9 parts per million. And then the best available nitrogen reducing systems on the market right now would reduce it further down to 7. In my opinion, there's no system available that would get it down to 5.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great. Good information.
Okay, what's your pleasure? What would you
Make
like?
a motion.
close the hearing, take it under advisement.
Bird second.
Okay, we have a motion by Steve to close the hearing, take it under advisement. Second was Courtney.
Bird eye. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun.
All right, I'm going to call the roll. Hearing none. Courtney is an aye. Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
I like the fact I got poison ivy or poison sumac from the site. Driscoll eye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
and Robbins is an aye. All right, unanimous. Close the hearing and we will take it under advisement. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mark.
everybody. Thank you.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Good night.
All right, next is Wayne and Park. The Seashell Lane Community Association, Inc., 0 Davisville Road, map and parcel number 40-11-013-000, Falmouth, Mass., for permission to reconstruct and enlarge an existing licensed community dock system. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this application has been withdrawn.
All right, so we don't have to do anything with that. That's withdrawn. Okay, moving on. Request to amend an existing order of conditions. This one, did I read Carolyn?
You should read Carol again, Mr. Chairman, just in case somebody's come in late, and then we can once again announce that it's been continued.
Okay. Request to amend an existing order of conditions. Benjamin Carroll, 357 West Falmouth Highway, Falmouth, Mass. Request to amend the order of conditions, Mass DEP number 25-4777, to reduce the footprint of the proposed work and reduce the amount of required mitigation plantings. Jen.
And it's been continued till, they've requested the continuance until August 6th.
Bird so move if we need to move
But
again.
we already voted it, Courtney. It's fine. We're just
Okay.
making the announcement.
We're continuing this to August 6th.
Want to make
Correct.
sure.
Nope, you. Okay. Continued requests for certificate of compliance. First up is Lucy Greer, 77 Barnack Road, Falmouth, Mass. A request for certificate of compliance for Mass DEP 25-45-48. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am promoting Doug Schneider from Cape and Islands Engineering to present his request. Doug, is there anyone else I am promoting up? Anybody?
I believe Attorney Nickerson may be on.
Jeff said he'll, if he wants to speak, he'll raise his hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I up?
Yes,
Good evening,
Doug.
Yes,
Okay.
floor-
Yeah, it went dark on me there for a second when I was coming up. We were in front of the commission about a month ago, requesting a certificate of compliance on 77 Bar Neck. The order expired about 2 years ago. The management group at Wilkinson had been working on planting and replanting, and staff had been watching it also, and staff directed that we come in front of the board to seek the certificate because the shrubs weren't taking as they were proposed. And like I said, we talked about it a month ago, and the members of the commission were going to go out and look at the site and reconvene tonight. And
All right, is that it, Doug?
that's all I got for now. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it.
Thank you, sir. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we can recap. I'm going to toss this one to Alyssa.
Alyssa, you're up.
Sure. Yeah, just a quick recap. As Doug said, we recommended that he bring this to the commission simply because there's been a couple efforts to revegetate the site with shrub material, but it has been outcompeted by the beach grass on the property. So at this point, the staff could not issue compliance because the site did not match the approved site plan where the shrubs were viable. So it will be up to the commission if they would like to grant compliance on the property as is or require some changes or additional plantings. The staff would recommend that if the commission does close this hearing tonight and approve their request for compliance, to keep this in mind going forward, that we may need to retain shrub material on future dune restorations. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. All right, Courtney.
That's a very tough site, and there are all kinds of ways of planting field-grown stuff and hope that it survives, but the survivability of stuff down there is really difficult. So I really am in a quandary, and this has been bothering me all along. So I'm not sure where I fall on this.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to interject, and I should have done it earlier. The quorum is everyone but Ron Driscoll. Ron, you were not at that first hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Jen.
Yep.
Steve.
To my eye, it provides excellent coverage. I can't imagine anything competing with this beach grass at this point, and pulling it up has not been something that has been very successful. So I'm willing to accept and issue an order, a certificate of compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Ronnie.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with both Courtney and Steve. It's a pretty barren area down there, and it looks like nature has taken its course, and it seems like it's doing fine. So I think we should move forward as well.
Thanks, Ronnie. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with that. I just would probably emphasize what Jen said. This is a lesson for our future, because sounds like that grass really does do this. So if we have any future similar projects, we should definitely take that into strong consideration. But other than that, I agree with the rest of the commissioners.
Okay, Dave, thank you. Anyone else? Everyone good? Anything in the chat room, Jen?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. What's your pleasure, gentlemen? What would you like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose that we issue a certificate of completion.
Compliance?
Bird second.
Okay, so Steve made a motion to issue a certificate of compliance, and Courtney seconded. Any other comments? Questions? No? Okay. I'm going to call a roll. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Steve.
Pat and I.
Ronnie.
Holman, aye.
Dave.
Anti.
And Robbins is aye. All right, so by a vote of 5, one abstention, or not, Ron's not voting, we issued a certificate of compliance to 77 Barneck Road. All right, next.
Thank you very much for your consideration and time on this.
Thank you, Doug.
We'll get it to you by the end of the week, Doug.
Thank you,
fine.
Doug.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
good
much.
night.
Thank you, Doug.
Right.
Hope we didn't disturb her too much.
No, I think it's all good. Thank you very much.
All right. So next up is Karen Olcott, trustee, Small Cottage Nominee Realty Trust, 141 Fay Road, Falmouth, Mass. Request for a certificate of compliance for Mass DEP number 254746. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am promoting Miss Alcott up as we speak. And I think Alyssa can recap why we are here.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, so this is a Second hearing for a request for a COC for this property. We worked with Miss Alcott throughout her project, and there was just one final matter that the staff could not grant compliance on. There was additional gravel on the property south of the home that wasn't previously permitted. Miss Alcott did remove the gravel from the Zone A, so just the additional gravel in the Zone B was up for discussion. The staff's position was just, with the gravel present, it needs mitigation unless this commission can approve it to remain with some specific findings. And I believe that many of the commissioners were able to get out to the site over the past week.
Mm-hmm. I think we all did. We all did.
Perfect.
All right, Miss Alcott.
Hi there. Thank you all. Ms. Karen Alcott, the owner of 141 Fay Road. I did provide a statement at the July 17th hearing, and we had much discussion about that. And then several of the commissioners did come out to my property. I don't know how many did, but I met with at least 3 of them, and we talked through the utility alley and kind of I provided the emails that went back and forth with the staff office and also the surveyor, Tom Bunker of BSS. So I am eager to hear how we can hopefully come to some conclusion on this. I've been at this for a long time at great expense, and I have tried to be cooperative and responsive to what I've heard. But I would say that it's not clear what the regulations are. And my understanding is that what was permitted in 2022 was in accordance to what the regulations were at that time. So I think that's my position is I don't know any other regulations that I'm supposed to behave against in this particular utility alley. I do want to take care of my home by having, gravel and anti-flammable material close to the home. And so that's my position, and hopefully we can work out something tonight.
All right. Alyssa, did you have anything?
Nothing to add at this time. Jen, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I think the only thing that I would like to add is that we did provide Ms. Alcott guidance on how to move forward with the gravel by filing an amendment to request that. There does need to be findings made on that. The amendment would have been the appropriate way to do that. She chose to come before you with the request for a certificate of compliance. So that is where we are, and the board needs to make a determination about whether you can grant compliance. I will say that it will affect other properties going forward, and the staff's position is that an amendment should be required. But is this still open, Alyssa, or not?
It is. This was just one of the opportunities to come before the board, gauge their opinion on the matter.
Correct.
All right.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, thanks, and thanks, Alyssa. Courtney, you want to start us off?
You're up, Courtney.
Yeah, I will, if I could share my screen, and I'll try to do my best at doing this. Let me see where the screen share is. Because now let me try again. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring this up. Is this all visible to people?
No.
No, Courtney.
Not yet.
It's not. So why is it visible?
That's Courtney. Are you trying to share what you sent this afternoon?
Yeah, do you have it?
All right, I'll do it for you, Courtney,
Thanks.
just to move this along. Because I know how to share my screen, Court.
What? Yeah.
I
Sometimes
gotcha,
I'm
Courtney.
technologically challenged.
I gotcha. Hang on, can everybody see that?
So
Wait,
The
Courtney, can everybody see my
issue and-
screen?
Yes.
one of the things that we
Yeah.
I met with Karen on the site, and Dave was with me, and later on, the chairman came by, and the concern was that, you know, we have an issue with the potential if you had pea stone going past the windows or whatever all the way down, that a mower could be driving over and throw a stone in it and all that stuff. So I agree that's an issue. The original thing that Karen submitted last week in her presentation was that showed that the pea stone ended at the line of the A zone delineation, followed that slope. And when we were on the site, it appeared that it had been squared off. And Karen's comment to me and to the other commissioners that happened to be there was that she just felt it looked kind of awkward going off at a slope. So, you know, we tried to come up with different perspectives, and this was what I suggested, which is that the line between pea stone and mulch be located perpendicular to the house and going over to the shrub line as shown on the south, the hedge, approximately 4, 5, 6 inches to the north of the window. And then there would be a narrow border 2 feet wide of pea stone in front of the windows because of the splash and so on. It makes all the sense in the world's good construction practice, which would mean that in the A zone, there would be an area approximately 2 feet by 4 to 4.5 feet. That needs to be verified on a plan because this is not to scale. And so conceptually, this is what we came up with. And I think it's a solution. Now, the problem is there's some confusion about whether or not all of this should be mitigated or what should be mitigated for. In my mind, I'm concerned about the precedent set if we don't mitigate for it, because, but my feeling is that she's done a terrific job with the site as a whole. And my feeling is that I would be comfortable with her mitigating at 3-1. The small area that's just shown next to the window where it says PS, which is an area 2 feet by approximately 4.5 feet, that she would have to mitigate for 3-1. And this would have to be approved by, if we approve this, then we'd have to file an amended plan that reflect that. So that's what I'm proposing. The one concern I have about it, which I've just mentioned, is the question of our requiring mitigation for things that aren't, such as pea stone and that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure where I fall on that. I'm concerned about the precedent that sets, because those things have a way of coming back and bite against in the wrong place. But if you deal with this as a case-by-case thing, this would be the solution I would propose. So I don't think we have to share it anymore. I know Russ has seen it. I know that David has seen it. What I've just drawn out. So I don't know where they fall on it, but that's where I fall.
All right, cool. Steve Patton.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, it's kind of unusual to see an amended plan. I don't have any comments. I don't. I understand that our future depends on our consistency, but this neighborhood, anyway, I don't have any other comments.
Thank you, Steve. Ron?
No comment.
All set, thanks.
Ronnie?
No comment.
Dave, I saw you had your hand up.
I have a question for Courtney. Courtney, you mentioned perhaps needing some more mitigation, but I think we have some extra mitigation from a previous project that would cover that little bit of part A. Isn't that
Yeah,
correct?
that's true, except if we're being consistent, we'd be requiring mitigation for all the area that's pea stone and so on.
Including B, right? So the issue really here is B, then not A, because it's just
You know,
A would cover.
there's been a lot of back and forth, and I honestly think in a way mixed messages, and so I'm trying to reconcile what's gone on and come to a solution, and none of that stuff is ideal.
Well,
I don't think
Jen,
I don't think the board's going to be able to reconcile this under the specific request for a certificate of compliance. I think it really does need to come back as an amendment. Findings need to be made, and I understand that Ms. Alcott does not want to go back to the engineer, but this project has changed multiple times since it was first permitted. Little tiny changes here and there. The plan has had to be, revised, but that is not the fault of this commission or the staff. It's the project has changed in the field. It needs to have a plan. The numbers need to be calculated, and if this is what Ms. Alcott wants, then an amendment needs to be requested. That's just unfortunately the way it is right now.
If I could just comment, I hear you, Jen. Thank you for your comments. I have been at this for a long time. The plan that Tom Bunker submitted on the 9th of June was the final one. What Courtney just showed was a little bit the previous one. I guess I go back to it's really, there has been communication back and forth saying, okay, do I need to remove zone A? Yes. Okay, I removed zone A. I hired the landscaper. We worked at it. And then I got clear, email that zone B did not, the gravel could stay and and it did not need to be mitigated.
You received at least 3 emails from Alyssa that said the gravel in zone B needed to be removed.
So the question is, no, but just hear me out for 1 second, please. The question is, am I not getting the right information from the surveyor? I did get, I trusted what he had sent based on his meetings with the commission, and I'm not trying to be difficult, guys. I'm just trying to, I performed what I thought I had was the professional final word, and I did it, and I did it in a timely manner, and I turned it around. And I guess I also go back to 2022. What is the regulation that shows that? My understanding is that the permit in 2022 was done in accordance with the mitigation requirements for zone B. So what regulation am I not following? Because I'm not, it's very hard for me to have a changing story, regardless of how it's happened, changing information, and I don't really know what I'm solving for. That's, I just wanted to state that. I heard you, Jen, but I just wanted to.
Question, Ms. Alcott. What was that area in 2022? What was that area supposed to, what was that area supposed to be?
It was not designated on the map.
So it was lawn?
No, it was not. It had nothing on it. It didn't have any mitigation. It didn't have any material. I guess I've never built a house before, right? So I don't know, but there's nothing that's on the 2022 permit. There's lots of mitigation, lots of calculations for the whole rest of the property, which I performed on. But that side of the house, if you go look at the original surveys, I can bring it up if it would help everybody for me to show the original survey that was, attached to the permit. Would that help if I showed everybody that?
If it wasn't designated on gravel in the original survey, Ms. Alcott, then it wasn't permitted to be gravel. Again, a simple fix would be request an amendment. The board is shifting and it has shifted, and the way they look at gravel in a B zone. We need to make findings on that in order to protect this board. So this is what I'm saying. This is why we gave you the guidance. File the amendment, we'll make the findings, and we'll move forward, and the board will determine what they want to do. The certificate of compliance, you wanted the audience before the board.
I did.
We granted you the audience before the board. And again, the staff's position is this has to be done under an amendment. If the board is comfortable with granting you compliance, they can. But again, the staff is our job is
Understood. I
to
understand.
protect the board and protect the board's, rulings in the past and going forward. We're not trying to punish you. We're not trying to require you to spend more money. There have been several changes in this plan going forward. We granted you the
Went through
mitigation
all
where you
those.
wanted it to go under an existing canopy so you could leave the open area. I get that you have a small property. I get the coastal bank, encroaches on your property. I understand the hardships you have with this particular site, Ms. Alcott. We're simply asking that you file the amendment, go through the appropriate channels, and we can get you to the finish line.
Could you give me some guidance as to if you go through an amendment, whatever that process looks like, what does that mean? What would change in our conversation about this utility?
We would be able to issue findings on the board's reasoning for allowing this to go forward. And there would be clear guidance on why the board made the decision they make.
Okay, even though
Okay.
everybody.
Either way, Ms. Alcott, what Courtney is presenting, you're going back to Tom Bunker anyway. Tom needs to calculate it out and then write a letter. It's not a whole big narrative. It's a simple request. Courtney's solution, you're going back to Tom anyway, because we need to calculate, you say you have a little bit of extra mitigation. We need that calculated out from Tom. We need that on a plan. And to do that, you're going back to Tom anyway.
Could I ask a question, please? If I
Sure.
just leave it the way it is today, where I've got 32 feet in excess of mitigation, I have the line going bisecting the window. It is not very smart in my estimation, Courtney. I do agree with you, but is there a potential that we just leave it the way that it is? We've all done best efforts. You have, and just call it a day. I guess I'm
You
asking.
still have the gravel, unless you remove the gravel in the B zone and put mulch, which I know you don't want, or grass.
Yeah.
I think amendment is required. And it would just make it easier on all parties.
Courtney's got his hand up.
Yep, thank you. Courtney.
Ms. Alcott, I know what you're struggling with. And, the logic of what you're proposing is great. And as I sat there trying to noodle with this thing and came up with this line, what was sticking in my craw actually was exactly what Jennifer alluded to, which is if we struggle on this commission with setting precedents that later on come back and give us a hard time. And I know you can appreciate that. And so, what we worry about with something like this is that if we allow the thing, even though it makes all the logical sense in the world, and somebody else goes, well, you allowed that with Miss Alcott, so why can't I do it? Then we all of a sudden find ourselves in a terrible dilemma. And I've been on this commission since Methuselah was a kid, back in more than 20 years. And I have seen numerous situations where, we thought we were trying to be kindly and understanding and made an exception. And then all of a sudden, way beyond the thing, it blows up. And at one point, as I was struggling with this, because I have been struggling with this, I said, well, can't we just make findings in the certificate of compliance that this is a unique situation and that we can do this? Well, the problem is that when you're filing for a certificate of compliance, you can't make findings. The only way you can make findings is if there's an amended permit. And so unpleasant as that is, an additional cost as it is, it really is the right way, because it makes it cleaner. We can make findings about the uniqueness of your situation. We can draw the line where I've drawn it, or we can draw it somewhere else. But at least then we can make findings that this is a unique situation, and therefore life is good here. And so we'll issue a certificate of compliance on it. Now, I realize that's a lot of extra expense, and being an old Yankee, I hate to spend money that I don't want to spend. But sometimes that's the reality. So much for that sermon.
All right, cool. Thank you. Steve, did you have something, or did I already call on you?
You did, sir. Thank you for checking.
Was I with you, Ron? I want to make sure I got this covered here.
Yeah, I'm all set. Thanks.
You, Ronnie?
I'm all set.
Dave, you didn't have anything else? You're good?
All set.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience, Jen?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I've got to go along with staff on this. I believe it does need an amendment. And what Courtney says, I hate to cost people money too, but I think this was kind of backwards. This might have been putting the cart before the horse. So I think an amendment would be a good idea. We're going to need a new plan anyway. So that's where I stand right now. Ms. Alcott, you had something?
Yes, I think I want to make sure that everyone is using the right bunker plan from June 9th. I have it here. I can share it if that's good. I don't know what's going to change on that. And if it's going to be a discussion with this hearing again, with this same set of people, it feels like sort of, I respect that you have to have your processes, but it sounds like paperwork. And I don't know that I would, what else is Tom Bunker going to provide? That I don't have any understanding, and I'm happy to share my screen if that would help you.
Obviously, if it's not depicted on your 22 plan, that gravel area, he would have to depict that. Then that little slot.
Yeah.
On.
May I share my screen?
And just the calculations on the mitigation. So, yes, go ahead. Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Yep. Let me I just want to make sure that everyone is seeing what was submitted. Can you see
They all
this?
received copies of everything, Ms. Alcott.
Okay. This is what the latest plan was from Tom Bunker. Whoops, sorry. And I don't know what I would do differently in that. There's clear delineation as to where zone A is and its mulch, and zone B is the stone. And, if you want me to remove the straight line and just go back to this curved line, I will do that. I do have an excess of 32 square feet. Could that be used for this little triangle? Is that what you want me to have Bunker put together? I'm not clear. I mean, Courtney showed something where I bring the mulch way back to over here on the other side of the window. And I don't know, like, I wouldn't bother if we're only concerned about zone A.
If I
And
can interject.
Sure.
So I think the delineation of where the mulch ends and the stone begins, that line would need to be defined if it does not follow that zone A.
Okay.
In addition to on Courtney's schematic, that
If I do that.
PS.
Yeah, if I do that, I mean, that's him telling me what to do. And I, as a homeowner, I can decide, can't I?
Yes,
Yes,
I'm
you
just,
can, Ms. Alcott.
if there are any proposed changes in the zone A, if you
Right.
were to add that edging around the windows that you had concern about,
Yes.
that's what everyone is referencing in terms of your excess mitigation, in just making sure that whatever you add either is covered by what you've planted, or
Yep.
if you need a bit more. And if that's something that you want, if you know, for some reason you can't have it at the correct width that you would prefer. You know, if it included one or two more plants, if that was just provided on the plan. I think
Yeah.
Russ,
I do have
Courtney,
an,
that
I
was
do have an overabundance of plantings, as you saw, Alyssa, when you came out to the coastal area. So
yeah. So it's just using those to your
move
benefit
some of
now.
those to another location if that would satisfy. So if I do this amendment, which I'm hearing you all are leaning that way on the staff's advice, I'll have to do those things with Bunker and provide new paperwork. And then we'll be in the same conversation. Is that correct? And
That's
this is,
correct, Ms. Alcott, but then
yeah,
the board can make findings about the stone in the B zone. That's where this lies. That's where
okay.
this whole thing lies, is the board will be able to make findings
Okay. So it's
to
a
allow you to move
technical approach.
forward or not.
It's a technical approach, administrative sort of technical.
Unfortunately, it is a
Okay.
technical administrative approach.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Not a problem, Ms. Alcott.
Courtney, you got something else?
Yeah, Karen, I'm trying to, it's very much a technical thing. In other words, we can't make findings, which is what sticks in our craw, on say what I proposed or what you proposed or something in between.
Okay.
And if when we're issuing a certificate of compliance, if we could make findings, we would, but it's not appropriate.
Not
That's
the right venue for that. I understand
Yes.
it's not the right
I
meeting.
think you
So,
understand.
so if you amend the permit and we choose to make an exception or a modification and so on, we can make findings to the effect that the situation on your property is unique to your property in so many words, and that's why we're allowing a given situation. And we can't do that just through issuing a certificate of
CMC.
compliance,
Got it.
unfortunately, you know.
Understood.
It's
Right.
a
Right.
PIA for you, but it's,
Yeah.
I think,
you know, in the end, you got a beautiful property down there. Great. And I think you have every right to be proud of what you've done there. And, you know, so you want to have a happy ending.
all right. All right, thanks, Court.
Chairman.
That's all, Court, thank you. Anything else, any other comments? So what's your pleasure on this? You wanna?
The board will have to put a motion on the floor to issue a certificate of compliance, and then if you feel you want the amendment, you vote against issuing the certificate of compliance.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance on 141 Fay Road.
Driscoll second.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to issue the certificate of compliance for 141 Fay Road. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in chat, Jen? Just
Nothing in the chat, Mr. Chairman.
so I'm gonna call the roll to issue the certificate of compliance. Courtney,
No,
Steve,
Patton, no.
Ron,
Driscoll, no.
Ronnie,
Bowman, no.
Dave,
Yeah, no.
and Robbins is a no. So it's 6 no in favor and 6 against issuing the certificate of
Certificate of compliance.
So
We will see you back with the amendment process, Ms. Alcott.
and whatever they
And
can.
we can talk
If I
with you.
could come into the office and just make
Yes.
sure that I'm doing it correctly and
Yes, you
get
may.
an idea of what the timing and what else you need from me. I'm really
Yes.
trying to work against what's there. I don't
No, I
really know what I'm solving for, but I did hear you tonight. I did hear you, and I'll do more paperwork. And Jen, if I could just, you and Alyssa could just help me figure out what
We
it
can.
is, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, we have
I come
office
in,
hours starting at 1 o'clock on Friday. Miss
Mhm.
Alcott, so if you're available Friday, we'll be in the office at 1 o'clock.
I'll be there at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Alcott. Have a good night.
Thank you.
It's all going to work out.
All right, so
Moving on.
Keep the faith.
continued hearings under an enforcement order. If we're going to take these together, Jenna, do you, will this?
Yes, I think it'd be easiest to take them together because
I'm
yeah,
gonna
it
go, I'm
overlaps.
gonna read both of them off and we'll do them.
That's fine.
Patrick Burke, trustee, Church Street Trust, 158 Church Street, Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted removal of vegetation within the buffer to a coastal bank. John Cook, trustee, John C. Cook, 2009 Trust, 170 Church Street, Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted removal of vegetation within the buffer zone to a coastal bank. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm attempting to promote Arlene Wilson from Arlene Wilson Associates to and attorney Jonathan Poloni. I'm coming to get you, Jonathan. Arlene, am I promoting Dave Martin up?
Yes.
Promoting Dave Martin. I've got Jonathan Poloni. Anybody else?
I think the owners are also here, Mr. Cook and Mr. Burke.
Okay, I'm assuming Mr. Cook is John's iPad. And Burke, I've got two P Burks, so. Oh, that's FCTV. Okay.
All right.
Yes, I think I've promoted up everybody, Mr. Chairman. I think Alyssa can give a brief recap before Arlene starts.
It's yours, Alyssa.
Thank you. So as the commission on the quorum, we have Courtney, Ron, Steve, and Russ is joining by the Mullen rule. We did have a site visit out at the property a couple months ago where the commission could see the area of clearing that took place within part of the Zone A and part of the Zone B buffer, straddling the property line of two properties on Church Street, 158 and 170. The staff's stance on the project is that since it was unpermitted, the area should be restored. In doing so, any invasives that are out there should be remedied so that the natives can take and can thrive. The commission did receive a packet this week from Attorney Wilson and Attorney Poloni, specifically referencing Ms. Wilson's argument here. I tried to recap it in our staff report. And Ms. Wilson, I'll let you describe your position there. For the commission, again, the staff is seeking that the area be restored. It is 7,000 square feet of vegetated buffer that was mowed. I understand that the root systems are still intact, but it still impacts the value of wildlife habitat in the area. What else did I say here? I know that there were some aerials that were submitted arguing for previous historic mowing that has taken place and management of the area. The staff did not view the aerial photos to show any mowing. I understand that there's sort of an area of lawn and an area of vegetation. The vegetation in every aerial photo that I have found and looked at shows non-mowed conditions. So we don't agree that this is any kind of historical or routine maintenance that has occurred on the site. And I'll stop there for now. Thank you.
Alyssa, can you give me the quorum one more time?
Yes, it is Courtney, Ron Driscoll, Steve, and you.
So that's 4.
Correct.
All right. Jen, you're all set. Alyssa's all set. Courtney.
I have no comments. Go ahead.
What's that?
No, I think we should give Arlene a
Oh, that's
chance
right.
to present.
Ms. Wilson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, but I think Mr. Poloni is going to start, and at the risk of being prosecuted, I am not an attorney. I'm a professional wetland scientist, and I appreciate the thought, Alyssa, but Mr. Poloni's the attorney.
All right, John.
Thank you. With that, I'll just dive into it. My name is Jonathan Poloni. I'm an attorney with Seni and Associates. I'm here representing both property owners, Pat Burke and John Cook. They own the properties at 158, 170 Church Street. The properties abut one another. I think you know everybody else who's here. We have submitted written comments onto the record, as well as a new site plan prepared by D.H. Martin Engineering and the report by A.M. Wilson and Associates. Just a little procedural history. These properties have been developed dating back to at least the 30s. The aerial photos that Arlene submitted show the activities that have gone on in the area, the houses in their locations, the large lawn area that cuts down on the 170 property. I believe at some point the property at 158 was redeveloped and a driveway was put in off of Church Street running up to the house. And so in between that driveway and the lawn area on 170, there's been a vegetated area. I'm going to let Arlene speak to that point that Alyssa mentioned about the aerial photos concerning the vegetated area. But concerning the matter here, about a year ago, September 2024, there was some mistaken cutting that happened in this vegetated area where the area was mowed. The owners have been responsive since that time. They got a letter from the staff. There was a site visit from the staff, I believe, around October. They then had a plan prepared by Merrill Engineering that showed jurisdiction, the areas of jurisdiction. We had a hearing in March this year. And after that hearing, the owners decided to hire Arlene Wilson to get a better sense of the conditions at the site. And the commission came out and viewed the site in April. And so just, I guess, a little bit about what we've kind of discovered since the site visit, and based largely on Arlene's work, is that this area is actually predominantly native species. There's not much invasive species that are present. I'll let Arlene speak more specifically to that. But the area has also substantially regrown in this time. Since April, the vegetation has returned. As Alyssa mentioned, the root structures were intact. That has held this area in place through several heavy rainstorms that we probably have all experienced. The area is returning. The growth in this vegetated area is now back up to 2 to 3 feet. And it's making good progress. I think that, given what's actually happening on the ground, at most the situation here is that something happened without a permit. And that is not saying that they would have gone and sought a permit for this work. But that's really what's on the table here, is that work was done without a permit. This is not a proposal to remove invasive species. This is not a proposal to add impervious surfaces within the buffer zone. There's no intent to cut this area again. This is an important area to separate these two properties. And as I said, it shouldn't have been cut in the first place. I don't think anybody is really arguing about that. But it's regrowing and it's returning to its unaltered state. It's returning to the state that it was in before the mowing happened. I think it's also significant that there are a significant amount of native species in this area. The native species are going to dominate this area. And I think because of that, it doesn't make a lot of sense to then change this to a different set of species. This area, to the extent that it provided wildlife habitat before, is now returning to that same habitat in this area. And just in terms of this being an enforcement action, I think it's worth noting that there's no precedent that's going to be set by how the board evaluates these specific circumstances in this specific case. And enforcement is by nature a case-by-case decision-making process that the board has to look at and evaluate what are the unique circumstances happening in that case. And I think, really relying on the materials that we submitted and the arguments that we made there, that there's no effect on the resource areas here. And to the extent that there was an effect on the wildlife habitat, that has returned. So there may have been a temporary effect, but that's now being resolved. So that's really the gist of the materials that we submitted. I'd like to turn it over to Arlene Wilson at this point, and she can summarize her report and address any questions you might have.
Thank you. If it's all right with the chairman, I will proceed here. So the purpose of my report was to provide information that previously was likely unavailable to the commission. And as Mr. Poloni summarized, my research shows that the site has been maintained since at least 1938, which is the oldest area we're able to get. The lawn that's predominantly on 170 clearly has been mowed as a lawn and maintained that way since that time. The edge between the two properties shows a little bit of change from time to time, but it's pretty clear that the intent was to mow along the property line. Jen and Alyssa, in reviewing the aerial photography, noted that the area predominantly on 158 appears to be shrubby in all the photographs going back to 1938. That's true. On the other hand, if there had been nothing done in terms of vegetative maintenance in that area since 1938, it wouldn't be shrubs. It would be trees. And so the fact that it is maintained predominantly as a grape thicket and with some shrubs tells me, as a professional wetlands scientist, that from time to time, there has been at least pruning of the vegetation in that area, if not cutting to some low level that was then allowed to grow back. And that maintenance would probably only have been done once every 3 to 5 years. And so having the aerial photography capture it when it was being done is a game that clearly didn't happen and isn't likely to have happened. Nevertheless, we believe that the fact that it hasn't changed in those areas shows that it was getting some maintenance. And therefore, we believe that the site should be grandfathered, considered to be grandfathered in terms of its vegetative maintenance under your regulation 10.187C. I know that in the staff report, there was some concern that I was using definitions from 13140 and 310 CMR instead of the town definitions, particularly with regard to what is an activity. But activity isn't defined in your regulation or your bylaw. And under 235, section 9B of your bylaw, it does say that where a term is not defined by the town, and there's a definition in the state regulations, we should use that regulation. And so that's what I did. Relative to the definition of activity, mowing doesn't seem to rise to the level of an activity, since activity is defined as destruction of plant life, which clearly hasn't happened here. A change in topography or drainage patterns, that hasn't happened here. A change in infiltration capacity or permeability, which also hasn't happened. And there's been no addition of pollutants, so there's no change in the pollutant load for this site. So we believe that this is a pretty minor kind of thing that's gone on here. Aesthetically, once it happened, it looked a little bit drastic, but I think Alyssa has some photographs that were taken earlier this week that show that the area is grown back. And if you compare that photograph with the pre-work photographs that are in my report, you'll see that they're essentially the same. The area was dominated by a grape thicket. The shrub area was dominated by a grape thicket before work was done. It is dominated by a grape thicket now. Grape is a native species. It's not on the invasives list. It provides wildlife habitat, which now that the plant materials have grown back in their superstructure, is back to the way it was a year ago before the work was done. The other thing I would point out is that I believe the purpose of having no disturb buffer zones and minor disturb buffer zones in your regulation is to, in fact, protect the adjacent resource areas, even though you define the buffers as resources themselves. Here, it's a very atypical situation, it seems to me. The coastal bank is entirely armored. The armoring shows up on a Chapter 91 license plan from 1952. That's also included in my report. It wasn't required to be licensed because it exists above the mean high water line. But it is indicated on those plans and on subsequent Chapter 91 plans of the area. So that bank is only a vertical buffer to flooding, not a source of sediment to the longshore drift system. And being armored, it has a very low wildlife value. It doesn't provide filtration for pollutants in groundwater that might be discharging through it, or any of the other classic things that would happen in a vegetated coastal bank. In addition, at the top of the coastal bank, as you all know, the area is flat and it's a paved road, and that paved road has also existed for decades. And on the upland side of the paved road, there is a little maintained shoulder of a few feet wide, and then another low vertical wall that's also existed for decades. And that wall cuts off the surface communication between the area where work was done and the coastal bank. Your own regulations cite that paved roads interrupt wildlife habitat and are not very good for wildlife habitat. And nobody's going to take out Church Street. So it's going to stay there forever. And what we have is an area that's a little depression, isolated in topography, in that big area of maintained vegetation that hasn't had its topography changed, hasn't had its vegetative cover changed, isn't predominantly invasives, and has gone back to being exactly what it was a year ago. So then the question comes, well, what do we do about the cutting that occurred? And it did occur in your buffer zones. At least they're technically buffer zones, even if they don't provide the protection that one would normally anticipate your buffer zones to provide. It seems to me, and those of you who have known me for a while, although I don't practice much in Falmouth, but I've known Jennifer for decades, and she knows that I've been on conservation commissions myself. And if I were sitting on your side of the desk, I think I would be interested in making sure that anything that happened here again didn't happen without communication first to the board, to its staff. And so perhaps you want to insist that any work, any significant work beyond the maintenance of what's there now requires some kind of a filing with the commission. I would suspect that an RDA would probably be enough. But I suppose if you wanted to specify that work in the future needed to be an NOI, that would be fine. But I think that you can also find that maintaining the vegetation as it is today and as it was a year ago before the mowing incident occurred, which includes maintaining the lawn on 170 and the grape thicket on 158, is allowable in the future. But it just a significant change to that vegetation that would require permitting. And I'd be happy to answer questions.
All right, Ms. Wilson, thank you. Dave, did you have anything you want to say? Dave Martin?
Dave, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nothing new that I can add at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll go to the questions from the board. Court.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Can I just interject real quick?
Yes, right ahead.
Thank you. The staff's position is this is an activity. The staff's position is this is not routine maintenance. It hasn't been altered in the last 20 plus years of aerial photos that we can see. And I would really caution the board to allow alteration to your buffer zone. I would caution the board to just allow a resident to mow down your buffer zone and then I don't want to say kick the can down the road for a year, but that's precisely what happened with this one where we couldn't get a survey from this company, we couldn't get a survey from that company. It was very drawn out. And I do think that that was done to see if the area would grow back. It is growing back, but it's growing back with a very, very aggressive native. And this board should at least require some sort of restoration in your A zone. You will be setting a very dangerous precedent if you don't find this an activity, if you find that this was routine maintenance, which it clearly hasn't been by the very pictures that Arlene submitted. And I'm just giving the board a caution on this one. That's
Okay.
all.
Thanks, Jen.
Maybe Alyssa could put that current photograph up for people to see. It's the third of the pages that I sent you this afternoon.
Jen, that's on that email.
I got it.
Okay.
No, it's going to be crooked, Arlene, because I don't know how to. Oh, wait, maybe I can do it. Yeah. But hey, let's
No matter
just
what you do,
let
Jen,
everybody
it's better
down
than what I
for-
would do. So as you can see, the grape has grown back adjacent to the lawn. This is what it looked like on Monday. And so when we talk about restoring the area, it really has grown back. There is nothing left to restore. Thank you, Jen.
What's this one, Arlene?
They're just looking at a slightly different angle. They're both taken from, I believe, from Mr. Burke's property. In the photo on the right-hand side, you can see his utility junction boxes. So it looks more toward the ocean, and the other one looks across the properties back toward the lighthouse.
You're saying this is the one that grew up in 1 year?
Yes.
What are those?
It's predominantly grape.
This is not grape, Arlene. This is what I'm asking. What is this?
The shrubs?
Ball-shaped, yeah.
Yes.
One of them is the remains of that poor overpruned black cherry tree. And there is a privet, but the privet is not in your jurisdiction.
Okay.
And my recommendation to the homeowners would be to cut it down, but it's not in jurisdiction.
I would say if the board were to allow this to remain or restoration, you do issue an enforcement order that no activity, because this is an activity. And I do respectfully disagree with our decade-long relationship, Arlene, but I do disagree with you on that. That the board issue an enforcement order that no work be done without a permit in this area, at the very least.
If I could ask a question, that would not include the mowing of the lawn at 170, would it? Which is
It
clearly
depends on
been
whether
done.
the lawn is in the grape. I would be the buffer zone that was mowed.
Okay.
That was clearly outlined. That if now somebody's calling lawn area, the grape area, I don't know what you're considering lawn, Arlene. Considering that you
Okay,
don't think any
so-
of this was an actual activity. So I'm really having a hard time. I'm not going to make that determination. The board will.
Okay. So you're talking primarily about the area that shows on Mr. Martin's plan as having been mowed. That sort of triangular shaped area that runs up along
I'm
the
talking
property
about
lines.
the area in the staff report from 9/9/24 on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the staff report. the areas that are shown as cleared on the staff reports, specifically on page 5.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, are you set, Jen?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Courtney.
This is an interesting issue, and I think I can certainly understand the idea that the homeowners in this case, can mow existing lawn. That's a different situation than where these grapes and other things are growing. The right to maintain what you have, if it pre-existed the wetlands regulations and so on, is a tough one. But I think the line that I draw is the scope of work, and to cut down that buffer exceeded the idea of normal kind of maintenance that you have as a result of that you've been doing it since the 1930s, and that's where we start to have a heartthrob. And so I mean, to me, any kind of maintenance or alteration of that area where the grapes are does require some kind of permitting from the board. That's how we can control this stuff. And that would be my position.
Thanks, Court. Ron Driscoll.
Yeah, thank you, Arlene and Jonathan, for your expertise and all the effort the homeowners have put into this, and also Jennifer and Alyssa for all the work you put in and on the opposite opinions of everybody. But discounting the activities and the definitions of activity and all the work that was done and what area is what. Well, I want to just think of the resource. Right now, last year was a mistake to cut it. Everyone's agreed to it. But right now, the thing has come back as good as it ever was. And if we were to have some sort of restoration, we're going to go in there and destroy what's come back as a natural, non-invasive plant. And I really think that we fight Mother Nature with the resilience plan and the ocean and the sand dunes. And here we are. Mother Nature has taken over and done the job for us, done the job for the homeowners, done the job for us. And 9 months, it's come back almost full as it was, and we're going to go in if we do some sort of restoration plan. We're going to go in and destroy what Mother Nature did, and it hasn't affected obviously the revetment. The road is there. It hasn't affected the ocean. I just think that Mother Nature's done a job, and we should let it go. And again, going forward, no cutting. And I don't know about the lawnmowers or the lawn or the buffer. Just outline the buffer. No work in the buffer without a permit. I think that's it.
Thanks, Ron. Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Although, yeah, they made a mistake. They admitted it. They got an awful lot of experts to take a look at this. And I believe that it's naturally restored itself. And controlling activity in the buffers, that's the only thing that's important to me from henceforth.
Okay, Steve, thank you. I gotta agree with Jen. I don't understand the mowing not being an activity. That kind of really threw me off, Miss Wilson. Anything, depending on what the deck of the mower is set at, it's going to get destroyed when the mower runs over it. So I think Ron said it well. I'm kind of battling with tearing stuff up again and replanting things, and so that's kind of where I stand.
And could I one more? I mean, after we just talked about Fay Road, where we're talking about 300 feet of pea stone, and hey, we're talking about 7,000 feet of buffer. But That was, as we've said many times, that was he wanted an order of compliance. We couldn't make a decision. We had to wait. We had to get an amendment so we can make our decision. Here it's an enforcement order, and as Attorney Mulaney said, we can make this. This is a unique situation. It's not going to come back and haunt us. As far as I can tell, there's no precedent with an enforcement order. Is that right?
That's correct. I mean, an enforcement order is specific to the case that you're dealing with. And I think that, you have information in front of you. You can make findings.
Okay. Jen?
I think you're both incorrect. I think this will set a precedent. It is going to come back to haunt this board, but we'll be here to remind you.
Okay. I told you so. Okay.
Until the next person knows their buffer.
Yeah.
Can I?
So what do you guys want to do?
I could throw
You
my.
want to issue an enforcement order. You don't want restoration, and then you are just make findings that in the future any work in this area be permitted through this board.
Absolutely.
Is that the way you want to go?
If you're talking to me,
I'm talking to
Which
all of you.
do is frame the motion, right? Is that what you're looking to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right. So is that what we're heading towards here? Motion?
Yes.
Okay. What I've got, Jen, it looks like somebody's in the chat room. I've got a number on my chat.
Yes, somebody asked me to keep Miss Lincoln, please keep it respectful. I don't know how I was disrespectful disagreeing with Attorney Poloni and Mr. Driscoll, but that's someone's opinion.
It's perfectly fine for you to disagree with me, Jen.
I know. Known each other a long time, John.
All right. So do we have a motion?
So is the motion we're saying that going forward, any alteration of that buffer where the grapes are, for lack of a better definition, will require a permit? Is that what we're saying?
What I'm hearing this board say is you're not going to require restoration, but you do want to make findings that any work in the future be permitted through this board. Is that what I heard this board say?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Driscoll second.
Okay, so we have a motion. So this would be issuing an enforcement order with findings of that any other work done in this area would require a permit from the commission, correct?
Correct.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other comments among the quorum?
I just want to be clear. This motion, maybe by omission, they can continue to mow what's now lawn, as that's been done all along. But any modification or proposed modification of the area that's, for the lack of a better descriptive term, predominantly wild grapes and friends, is going to require a permit from this board. Am I correct in understanding that?
Correct.
Well, sounds like it could.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so no other comments? We have a motion and a second. And I'm going to call the roll. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Steve.
Aye.
And Robbins is aye. So we have unanimous decision to issue the enforcement order with the findings of any other work done in this area will require a permit from the Conservation Commission. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Night, Arlene. Night, John.
Good night.
Good night.
See you, Dave. Haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so we're moving on to vote orders of conditions.
Hang on one second, Mr. Chairman. I'm just trying to get everybody out.
Oh, okay, Jim. Sorry.
That's okay. Just don't go that fast.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, one more. I got to get Arlene out of here. All right. Did I mistakenly boot anybody out? I got Dave, I got Ronnie. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 of you. Very good.
All right. Vote order of conditions. Susan and Brian O'Connor, 152 Saconaset Road, Falmouth, Mass.
This was an
Yeah.
associates. Afterwards, we met out there with who did we meet out there with? Brett from Zen Associates? Yeah. Talked through the project. I believe they submitted a revised plan, right, Alyssa? With the vegetation up past the wall.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'll double check.
And we talked about the different cutting techniques they wanted to do out there. They understand what they are doing. They understand the staff's concern that this is going to grow back. They are working on behalf of their client. So they're doing the best possible to manage the expectations of their client and to control some of the invasives without doing a full-scale restoration project. So I think staff's in agreement finally of what their plan is, where their mitigation for the wall will go. And I think the board can issue an order of conditions.
Right.
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions as discussed.
Fiscal second, but I had a question too.
Sure.
The pruning of the trees over the pool. Are they gonna
I think
do that?
some of the branches are being pruned because they're overhanging the pool, and then we're taking out the vines by clipping them at the bottom and pulling them out.
There's a lot of the tree overhanging the pool.
There is, they are taking a few significant liters off that tree, but I mean, it is overhanging the pool,
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. With motion is second. Any other comments or questions? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. There's not a quorum issue on this, is there?
Oh, let me check for you. Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Just have my quorum checkers.
I don't think so.
Hang on. I've got Steve, Ron, Courtney. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm on the Church Street ones. Sorry, I've got Courtney, Dave, Ronnie, Ron, Russell, and Steve, all of you.
Okay, cool. All right, so any other comments or questions? We'll call for the vote. All right, I'm gonna call the roll for to issue an order of conditions as discussed. Is that what your motion is, Court?
Yep.
Okay. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Aye.
Ron Driscoll,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Robbins, aye. Okay, unanimous. We've issued the order conditions for 152 Saconaset Road. All right, vote amended order of conditions. Gary and Janet Vachon, I guess it's Vachon, 40 Bridge Street, East Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
I'm gonna kick this one to Alyssa, if you don't mind. Alyssa, I don't have that paperwork in front of me. I don't know why.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, so this is a request to amend once the dock reconstruction had occurred, they noticed some erosion in the area. There used to be some stones there which were requested at the notice of intent hearing to be removed because they were not permitted. They're in the salt marsh. It prevents the salt marsh from migrating, and we also cannot revet that coastal bank. So they are proposing to add core fiber rolls as a soft solution to enhance the area and attempt to limit the erosion there. They're also adding some salt marsh pillows, which will be in the salt marsh and actually trying to replicate that area and allow it to migrate and fill in. There were only a couple comments on our end, and the staff is content with conditioning them. We just needed a couple minor changes added to the plan. Also, something I didn't notice the first time when we looked at this property for the order, many of the hydrangeas in the backyard are actually in place of what was previously required mitigation. So those will need to be relocated and the mitigation reinstalled.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. All right, any comments from the board? Anything? Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's one of our many challenging situations in town and expected to be impacted with the construction, upcoming construction, and its possible impact on the property as well. So I would vote this amended order of conditions.
Driscoll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Steve and second by Ron Driscoll. Move as discussed. Anything else? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call a roll. Court.
Bird, aye.
Steve.
Patton, aye.
Ron.
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie.
Bowman, aye.
Dave.
And aye.
And Robbins is an aye. All right, so we voted the amended order of conditions as discussed. There's only one thing. Hey, thank you all. I know it was a little bit of a long night, but thank you very
You
much.
guys had some tough ones tonight. You worked through it.
Yeah.
I look forward to speaking with each of you individually when you come into the office.
Awesome.
Aren't you all lucky?
We're all gonna get a tongue lashing. All right.
I'm not on that list.
Okay.
Ron just threw us under the bus. It wasn't me.
I'm not on that list. That's not me.
I think we worked through the issues pretty well.
You guys did. I mean, it was you had some difficult ones. You worked through it. You made, staff supports some of the decisions you made, some not you made, but it's okay. We'll get through it. We're behind you 100%. We have your backs as always.
Also behind you 100%,
I know. We just like it when you make our jobs infinitely more difficult sometimes.
Well,
but that's okay. We'll get through this. Nice job, Mr. Chairman. You're getting your feet under you again.
It's been a while.
I know, but you've been chair for two really prominent boards. You'll get back to it.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're looking for one motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Courtney, second by Ron. Aye.
Bird, aye.
Aye.
Bowman,
Patton,
aye.
aye.
And aye.
Good night.
I declare.
I think you're all ayed. Good night, guys.